Hey everybody, Matty here. Welcome to another edition of Comics on my YouTube channel. Thanks for checking it out. I've got here a 25 modern pre-screen from CGC. Let's get into it. Alright, thanks again for being here, guys. Just making a quick video. My baby's actually sleeping in the next room, so I may be interrupted at any time. Got the monitor over there. But today is Thursday, June 8th. I have a live sale tonight on Instagram. If I happen to get this video up in time for you to catch it, then I'll hopefully see you there. If you like videos like this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment below what you think about the results of my pre-screen. So, I actually got this thing back in the mail before I left for California, which was a couple weeks ago. So it's just kind of been sitting here waiting for me to get into it. And so my memory's a little hazy about what we're going to find, which is good because I'll be sort of surprised as I see the stuff. I've literally never, I know what's in the box, but I've never taken the slabs out. I haven't done any quality control. We know that CGC has issues with quality control, whether there were the labels, cracking of cases, little plastic articles, artifacts in the case. Lots of stuff can go wrong. So we'll see. We'll hope for the best. First thing I notice here is we've got some raw books inside, which is never a great sign. It means I did not get a perfect submission. If you're doing a pre-screen, then that means that unless you go 25 for 25, you are going to get some raw books back. As a side note, CGC, along with all the rate hikes and stuff, the changes that they've been making, one of the changes that they've made is you no longer have to have a 25 book minimum in order to do a pre-screen. However, I did notice yesterday when I checked turnaround times that they are quoting a much longer turnaround time now for pre-screen than just regular submissions. So I think they're just trying to sort of recalibrate, since pre-screen is such a popular option. Now that they're taking the 25 book limit out of the picture, I imagine they're going to get even more demand for pre-screen. So that's probably why they're factoring in a longer turnaround time. But, up until now, I haven't noticed any sort of increase in turnaround time for pre-screen. As a matter of fact, sometimes my submissions with pre-screen come back faster than without, but that may no longer be the case. Probably does mean, however, that you should send your pre-screen books separately from your non-pre-screen. They may make you do that anyway. They probably would, because they'd be shipping it back to you separately. You can send whatever you want together, but they're going to ship it back to you separate. That's my understanding. But you don't want one thing to slow down another thing. That's more of a problem with CBCS than CGC. But anyway, that's a side note. Let's look at the raw books that did not get 9.8s, okay? And first up here, I've got a Wildcats 2 in a newsstand. I'm a real sucker for like 90s nostalgia. And if you remember this one, the first print direct edition has that famously sort of gaudy holofoil background, so it's like really sparkly and shiny. I just like I like things like second prints and newsstands that sort of augment the presentation, and I just don't see this ever. I never see the newsstand version of this. A lot of the image books like Spawn and everything like that, they're so heavily printed, but you just don't see them in newsstand, and especially when it changes the presentation, like I said. Oh, I see why it didn't get a 9.8. Damn. This is one of those things where it's like, I may have just taken this out of a bag and board and decided not to press it and just been like, put it in the pre-screen. But I see this sort of bend on this side of the book here. See that like edge? So it is the kind of thing where maybe I would just maybe it would pass after a press, but I think I tried to get away without a press. So maybe we'll try that one again. Okay, this one I am a little disappointed. Well, pretty disappointed given that how expensive this is in a 9.8, but I picked this up in a collection a few months ago, and it's one of those books where like I didn't do great on the collection, but if this gets a 9.8, then I do a lot better. You know what I mean? Because this is like, you know, an $800 to $1,100 9.8, somewhere in the $1,000 range, and I bought the collection for like $2,300, I think. So there's other good stuff in the collection, but this one would definitely like make the collection a win if it came 9.8, and you know, it's a square bound, so there's not that much to press even if I wanted to, but so far no luck with that. I'll have to look it over and see. I'll definitely be resubmitting it. It's just a question of whether there's something I can fix or not. This one was definitely something I did not press. Just a cool surfer cover. It's Alex Maleev. It's from Silver Surfer Rebirth, a recent series. This was an exclusive variant, and that's the Virgin version of it. Has very like Mobius vibes. Just a really nice stance. It kind of looks as though the sticker is censoring something obscene here. It'd be funny if this variant was like one of those hardly thin like Pharaoh's Lounge surfer books where it's just like a big old dong floating outside of the surfer's body. Floating outside, like separately, detachable penis. Anyway, seems like a harsh grade to me to not pass this, but I'll have to double check. I'm not gonna like make you guys wait there while I take all these out of the board, bag and board. This one was a stretch. I'm not surprised it didn't come back, although I did spend some time on it. This is Surfer 35, the reintroduction of Thanos, and it's a newsstand, and I picked up like 5 or 6 copies of this at the same time a year or two ago, and this was the nicest one, so I was just really hoping the nicest one would get a 9.8, but it was a bit of wishful thinking on my part. You know, I sort of, sometimes you feel like when you buy multiples of something and you're going for 9.8, you feel like you're owed, you know, at least one 9.8 because you invested in the batch, but that was kind of a mistake on my part. All right, this Action Comics 1053, recent book from Will Jack, did not make the cut. I'm pretty sure I tried to pass this with no press as well. Nothing visible on the front cover that I can detect, so we'll have to take a look at that as well. So all of those, maybe I'll do a follow-up video. I'm going to take those out of the bag and board, but I'm not going to spend time with it right now. I'm going to see if I agree with those rejects and which ones I'm going to resubmit. Okay, let's continue with the slab. So that was, for you guys keeping score at home, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rejects. That means we should have 20 slabs in here. Actually, we're gonna have 18 because I did already crack this thing open and give 2 slabs to my buddy Eddie, who works with me at the comic shop. I had submitted 2 books for him, and I didn't want to make him wait to take them home. So I did retrieve two books that I knew belonged to Eddie. So we should have 18 slabs to look at. All right. First up, in no particular order. Okay, this is a book that I'm going to do some quality control while we go here, so I don't have to do it again. It's a book that I submitted for one of my customers. This is Superman #1, the new series from April of 2023. That is the Simone DeMeo. I believe it was a 1 in 25. That got a 9.8 white pages. Quick little QC. Slab looks great. I would like to think that because CGC is wasting so much money and time and turnaround time on reholders, mechanical errors in particular, I'd like to think that they're trying to up their quality control game. Sometimes I even see like little scuffs, like one of my whole batches of slabs had scuffs over here, like on every single slab in the whole box, and it was like, first of all, I know that they're not going to do anything about it if I complain, but second of all, it's like do I really want to deal with like sending 25 books back in? It's like, it sucks because I don't know what in the manufacturing or the workflow
would scuff every single book in the series like that. But at any rate, that looks like a pristine slab. That's not what I'm accustomed to seeing, so let's hope for the best with that. All right, little bit of story time here. I have Spider-Man 1. That's a foil Mexican edition. I am pretty sure that this book technically belongs to a former employee of mine. If you've been following me for any length of time on Instagram, I don't think I talked about it here on YouTube, but there's a lot of drama in the last couple months at the shop with this particular individual. Basically, I caught an employee stealing, and there's a huge investigation going on about it. It's a pretty big deal because he'd been selling thousands of dollars of inventory on his own Whatnot account for a couple months. And so I'm in the process of trying to prove that. Needless to say, he's not going to be getting this because this is what I like to call collateral. So, you know, it's not like it's a huge high value book. It's probably $175 or something, but he owes me thousands of dollars. As a matter of fact, he owes me $250 cash. So even with just the cash that he owes me, I think I am entitled to his slab that he would have gotten in the submission. So there's that. This is now in the Comics inventory because he ain't getting it. Hopefully I'll be able to share more details about the whole situation once the investigation is concluded. All right, this one I'm super psyched about, guys. This is a personal collection. One of those things I always say personal collection, and then sometimes I'm kind of forced to sell because I've got to generate money in shop or whatever. But this is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 100 Peach Momoko variant. And this is extremely rare. It is a exclusive variant. IDW 2019. It's this awesome Ultimate Comics edition, it says. It's a Death of Splinter vintage cover. And I think it's supposed to, take after like old Japanese cinema. So this is one that I've coveted this forever. I've never gotten a raw copy. It's one of those books I remember when it dropped in 2019, and I believe it had a pretty high retail price, like the MSRP or whatever was like $60 or $70 for it. And at the time, that felt like just too big of a pill to swallow. Like I didn't want to pay that much for a new variant. And with new variant releases, you're always kind of, it's a bit of a coin toss. Like sometimes they hold value, most of the time they don't. You sort of hope that, okay, maybe I'll try to pick that up another time. Maybe it won't hold its value. Well, when it's a really hot artist, Peach Momoko, with a really strong fan base and a very low print run and a dope cover, this thing just has been expensive since it came out. It sold out immediately, and I've never gotten my hands on a copy until recently. How did I get? I got this on an eBay lot along with a Turtle Mania #1, which I've also never owned. The Turtle Mania came in an 8.5 slab, and I've cracked that and repressed it, resubmitted. So we'll see what happens with that one. But this one came raw and did not need a press. Just sent it in, got the 9.8. This is what I'm talking about scuffs on the cases. It's not terrible. It's just kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Like, it's the difference between being able to say that the case is pristine or not, So, not pristine, which is a bummer, because it just seems like that should be preventable, Anyway. All right, so that is my Turtles 100. Very excited about that one. Next up, we have Okay, so this is another copy of Will Jack, the Action Comic 1053. The top of the case is sort of like, the seam is sort of a little wide. I don't love that. It's probably acceptable, but it's annoying. Okay, so much for the quality control issues. I actually feel like I just got it better just by squeezing it together. So, okay, we'll just leave that alone. Is this a crack? I can't tell if it's cracked. It almost looks... I think it is cracked. Yeah, this one has a little crack here. Okay. Well, of course out of 25 books you're gonna have books to send back. It's just such a time suck, you know? It's like, gotta check every case, send it back, wait for them to return. It's just such a needless waste of everybody's time and resources. Alright, Street Fighter Masters Cammy #1. This is a brand new release from March of this year. Just a fire cover. I think I have someone interested in this one. Cammy didn't skip leg day, of course. This is the same size slab, and I don't see that marking there, so it's definitely a crack. Udon Store Edition A. Slab looks good. It's a cool book. Okay, next up we have... Okay, this is another submission for a customer, another Superman 1. This one is the Kubrick sketch cover. I feel like that's a higher ratio. Or might just be another 1 in 25, but it's a ratio cover for Superman 1 from April of this year. And that slab looks and feels good. So that looks good. Didn't have any rejects for other customers, which is great, because usually when I'm submitting for a customer, it's because I'm telling them that the book has a chance at 9.8, and I like to have a good track record with that. Alright, everybody knows this book by now. This is the spoiler variant for the first Spider-Boy, Spider-Man 7. This one is actually a pre-sale for a customer. I know Danny Newton got one of these in pre-sale from me, and one other customer did as well. So another bit of story time about this whole employee theft situation is, you know, I ordered something like 20 copies of this between different sources. I think I got like 5 from my LCS and then 15 from Midtown or something like that. And I pre-sold some of them. I sold, you know, I basically sold out of them. But I reserved 4 copies, maybe 3, but definitely, I mean, maybe 4, definitely 3, at least 3 copies of this. I pre-sold 2 of them. It must have been 4. I held back 4 of the best copies, and I put them all in my Prescreen 9.8 bin. I think I had to press 1 or 2 of them, and I pre-sold 2 of them, thinking if I have 4 copies going out, then I feel confident in pre-selling 2 of them, because like, what are the odds that I'm going to get less than 2 back out of 4, right? If I think that they're 9.8 candidates. So after all this drama went on with the employee, I realized that in the bin there were only 2 copies left. And I thought I was going crazy. I actually realized before the drama went down, and I was like, I guess I miscounted. You know, I must have miscounted the amount, but I could have sworn that they were in there, that I had more than just the 2 copies. But then it turns out when I watched live sales on Whatnot, he was selling copies of this, and I think that's where he got them from. So I ended up with exactly 2, but thank God they both came back 9.8 because I sold them already, and I've got to get those out to those customers. So that's one of 2. Let's see We'll get to the other one. Got to quality check it, make sure it's good. This is a foil Mexican version of New Mutants 98. No idea what this is going for. This just came out last year, 2022. Slab looks pretty good. A little bit of like cloudiness on the back. Usually when there's these black foil covers, you tend to get cloudiness on the back. I don't know why, but you do. So there's that. Looks like my baby's getting up. So if my beloved partner is not going to attend to the baby, I will have to go do that in a moment. So there's a cool book. All right, what else we got? We've got another foil that I got in the same batch, the sort of early Harley Quinn appearance. That one looks pretty good. Alright, babe's getting up. I'm going to pause the video. Alright, baby has been delivered. Alright, so we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more slabs to look at. Let's see what we got. Ooh, this is one of my favorite ones from the submission. This is the first Mr. Sinister. And same with that, came from the same collection as that Legend of the Dark Knight, or Dark Knight Returns rather. So this one did get a 9.8, which is super exciting. I never had this book in a 9.8. I wish it was a newsstand, but I still think Mr. Sinister, first appearance, 9.8. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous copy. I'm also pleased with this because just before I submitted this, I sold to Danny Newton. That's the second time I'm mentioning him. I sold to Danny a raw copy of this for like $100. I remember because it was like so minty. So for some reason, I just recently, I've come across some minty copies of this recently, but I was glad that I had my own chance to get a 9.8 because I'm pretty sure Danny already got one. So I am noticing a little flake of something in this holder. Tell me in the comments below, would you bother sending this back with that article in the slab? Would you guys send that back? Am I being picky? Probably kind of shake it into a less conspicuous place there. I got it to the bottom of the... I wonder if I can get it out. It's at the bottom of the slab now. I bet you I could like open this seam enough to get that little piece of shit out of there. It's like right there. Okay, well, I probably won't bother, to be honest. It's just... Anyway. It's just crazy how there's always... It just feels like there's always something, you know? With every submission, there's something wrong. Something wrong. This slab is beautiful otherwise. It's perfect. This one I would say is pristine, except with a little piece of floating shit in there. Anyway, beautiful copy. First Mr. Sinister. I think he's going to be featured heavily in the upcoming show, which is cool. I'm going to keep to the side in case I can work on getting that little floating debris out of there. All right, this is good timing for this one. We got a Miles rookie card. I feel like I had interest in this from somebody, but I don't know if I wrote it down who it was. But I'm sure if I put this up at the sale tonight, it's gonna sell. That's a pretty cool book. It's from Greg Horn from 2021, and this is like the C variant in the series. Obviously, you want to go for the C variant with the rookie card. And the slab looks great. This is a thicker size book, and looks like they did a good job on this one. Okay, so we got the Greg Horn, Horny Greg, doing a non-horny cover. Unless you're horny for Miles Morales, which is, to each their own. Okay, so now I've got 2 copies of Spider-Man 7, the cover A, which is actually not bad. I'm kind of excited that I have this, given that it is also the first Spider-Boy, just not the spoiler variant. And because I don't have any 9/8 of the spoiler in the inventory because they're pre-sold. Now I have 2 copies of the cover A, and again, I think these will be hot sellers given the persistent Spider-Boy craze. Even though, to my knowledge, I don't think he shows up in the Spider-Verse movie. Here's another copy. Got to quality check it. There is another one of those annoying little scuffing areas there. That should be illegal. I mean, you're a slab company. Why do you mishandle your own slabs? Why? This is your one job. Just don't poke the plastic with other plastic. It's not rocket science. Annoying. You have first Spider-Boy on there? Yep, first appearance of Spider-Boy right on the label. Okay, here's my other pre-sale copy of the spoiler. So let's see. Do we at least have... This one has a similar scuff area, but it's not too bad. Here's this annoying area down here I don't love. That's kind of like what I meant with a previous batch. Where they all had scuffing in the same area. But I think it's acceptable. It's just, you know, a bit of a bummer, but I think it's acceptable. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah, it must be prior. I imagine that those little scuffs, because I saw them on so many slabs in previous submissions. I imagine that they're like pre-holder, you know, before getting a comic book into them. It's probably in the manufacturing of the plastic itself. That's all I can figure. Okay, this is kind of a weird choice on my part. Bit of stretch, but I'm a member of the Tiny Onion Club, James Tynan's mailing list, and I believe it was he who kind of hyped this book. And this is an example of a creator, like we all know what happened with Spider-Boy, right? Where like the writer Dan Slott was hyping Spider-Boy before it came out and saying, retailers, you gotta go for this, you gotta go for this. It's gonna be big, it's gonna be big. And I sort of half listened to him. It's like, that's what they were saying about the Kamala Khan death too, and that everybody hates that story. And no, but that's not gonna be a key that anybody cares about next week, let alone in 5 years, I don't think. So it's just like, you gotta take what creators say with a grain of salt sometimes. That's why if every creator who hyped a book was, telling the truth, then everybody would have made a shit ton of money on Spider-Boy. You know what I mean? I made out okay by getting 20 copies. I could have gotten 200 copies, 2,000 copies, So it's like you had your bets. This is an example of like James Tynion IV hyping one of his properties where he's like, this character, Razor Blades or whatever, or what is the deal? Like, it's not even on the label what the first appearance is, but he said Razor Blade Small Cut Special #1 was like a first appearance, and that this variant of it from the Tiny Onion Club was going to be rare. So I've had this in my grading bin for a while. It's been like very low priority for me to get this graded, but it filled out the submission this time to get 25 books for the pre-screen, so I figured why not. I think it's this character here that it's first appearing, and I wonder, who knows? I don't read enough of Tynan's stuff to know the deal with this, but it's something from a horror franchise, and imagine if this little character showed up in like World Tree or something, then all of a sudden this could be a really big deal. So we'll just put this in our back pocket, see what happens. Maybe trust that the Tynan spec will pay off in the long run. Okay, 3 more slabs and we'll call it a day, guys. Here is Archie versus the World, another Dan Parent Archie homage to Dave Stevens. This is from 2023, March of this year. Great Wall of Comics edition. I believe the COA on this was a 200 limited run. So I just thought might as well try to get a 9.8. And they have it. Slab looks good. Okay, down to the last two. We have... Alright, this is one of the ones I'm really excited about. I got this from Chrissy, Queen of Variant. Shout out to Chrissy over in Hawaii. This is Doctor Doom #1, the 1 in 25 Deodato variant edition. I never owned this book when it first came out. Here's that area where you keep getting scuffs. Oh, it kills me. Anyways, you guys don't care about that. I remember when this first came out, I never had this 1 in 25, but Chrissy had a copy for a great price, and oftentimes I've gotten a lot of 9.8s from Chrissy's books. So shout out to Chrissy. Give her a follow over on Instagram, Chrissy, Queen of Variants. And thank you for that, my queen. And last but not least, we got another Mexican foil edition. Can't go wrong with a little ASM 300. This is the El Quinto Mundo edition from 2022. Slab looks decent. Like I said, the backs of these foil black covers, they tend to do this. Why would the material of the book itself cause this issue? Is it just that it's black and so we can see it more clearly? Why? Because I have resubmitted books. I've gotten them to reholder books for this kind of a thing, but when I did it, it was more like this, but along the entire back. This is like a little bit less egregious, but it's a bummer, to be sure. It's a bummer. I'll probably just try to sell it and maybe just disclose the cloudy issue on the back cover. I can even offer people to get it reholdered if I sell it in the next 14 days. Or I guess I've had this already for a while. I probably am outside of the window, the new 14-day window for the mechanical error eligibility anyway. So there is that. Luckily, I don't think I have anything too egregious except that one slightly cracked case from the side. I better make sure I can return that because I need to go for a reholder at least on that one. Alright, I'll check on that. Hopefully I'm still within 14 days, maybe just barely. So, remember I told you about the employee that was stealing. It may have been this one. Was it a 300 or was it the Spider-Man one? Either way, I'm keeping it. I can't remember if it was this one or the other, but this is now collateral, whichever one it was. So thank you guys for watching this video to the end. I appreciate everybody. I have an auction tonight. If you happen to see this today on Thursday, June 8th, I'm live on Instagram selling comics. Many of these slabs will be for sale. And you can check me out there every Thursday night over on Instagram at mmcomicsales. Alright guys, thanks again for the watch. Give me a like and a follow and all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.